Alright, welcome back to my channel. We are going to get into some more drawing. So let's sit back, relax, maybe get a pen or pencil if you want to follow along. If you can draw a 6, you can draw an ear. Let me show you why most people overcomplicate this. So let's make this easier than it looks, one shape at a time. Alright, first we're going to look at the simple structure of the ear. We're going to deal with just the shapes. So we know that the ear has sort of a C shape. So we know that the ear is going to be something like this. And we're just looking at the basics right now. This isn't exactly the shape of all ears, but this is a basic shape of the ear. So this would just be a base. When you get into like what you want your character to look like, it's gonna be either, you know, the fairy ears where the ears pointed out and all that. But if we get the simple stuff done, you'll be able to draw any kind of ear you want. So let's start drawing the different shapes. So the first shape is the hook, and that's going to be, you go all the way around and like that. So this hook, and I'm going to draw it like this. Yeah, and it hooks all the way around like that. That's the first shape. Now the second shape is a Y shape. And that's going to be, it's going to be a Y, but it'll be bent like this. So we're going to do this. And it's going to wrap like that. You see how this Y, and it's just going to go right around there like that. Okay, now we have the nub, which is, it's going to be down here. The nub. It's just going to be this little shape here. And then you got the earlobe, which is right here. So as you can see, it curves around the hook, and there's a space right here. See, once you get the structure down, you'll start to get the shading down. Now, there's the outer curve, the inner ridge, I guess. And you got the lobe and the Y inside. So if you just remember these things, then everything else becomes easier, and even the shading becomes easier too. You don't need to memorize the names of the ear anatomy exactly, but it's good to know. Okay, we are going to draw this again, knowing what we just learned about the shapes. So I'm going to draw with some very straight lines. I'm just drawing very light just so I get the shape correctly. So the ear is always going to look something like this. So remember, we got the hook. So we're going to slowly go around right here. And now we're going to do the Y. The Y is like this, and it goes around like that. Now that's just the shape. What you're going to do, this is where a shade would go. So it's a really big bump right here for this Y. And we also got the nub here. And then we got the earlobe right there. So you can see the hook, it goes in like this, and it goes underneath like this. So there's going to be a shade right here and a shade up here and a shade somewhere up here and around. So all this is inside. And you got that nub right there. Put a shade right there. And you can see that it looks like an ear. So it takes time. And this Y overlaps this hook just a little bit. And it comes back around down here. And you'll see a little bump right here. And if tutorials like this help you understand drawing a little better, consider subscribing. I post more breakdowns of facial features and drawing techniques. Alright, now that we know some of the basic shapes of the ear, we're going to go ahead and actually go in here, and I'm going to choose a different color here. Okay, now we're going to make the C again. And we know there's a hook here. And we're gonna draw that all the way around like that. And we know that the Y is leaning sideways. So we can draw a little shaded part right here. And then the Y, you know, it's kind of thick. It's going to go around like this. This side of the Y is for the inner part of the ear. And this side is going a little bit, it overlaps a little bit over this hook. And it comes all the way down. And that's why we see a shade right there. And with this hook at the end of this hook, it comes down like a sliding board. It comes and it slides down here, and it creates a shade right here. So it goes all the way in here, and you know we have that little nub right here. That's where the earphones go. And is part of this right here where it slides down, as you can see. So we got the curve around here, we got the Y, and this is the inner part, and we got a shade right there, and the outer part of the Y, it goes around, and you can see you can shade right here because this is all inside, like right here. And that's the lobe. So Now we know the structure. Now we know where to shade. I think we made a lot of progress in this. Now in the next video, I'm going to get into the coloring of the ear. And this is just the side of the ear. There's other views of the ear we're going to get into. But for now, thank you for watching. This is something that you can practice, when you get home. And, make sure don't stress yourself out over it. Look at the structure of the ear, look at the shapes, and simplify it down so that it is, so it doesn't complicate your brain. Yeah, continue to practice. Make sure you remember the different structures and the different shapes of the ear. And next time we're going to do some color. We're going to add some color to it, and we can add the shading. And we just went over a little bit of the shading right here. So now I think we're ready to do the next step. So join me next time, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace. If this tutorial helped you understand ears a little better, consider subscribing for more drawing breakdowns like this. And if you know someone learning portrait drawing, feel free to share this with them. Sometimes the smallest details make the biggest difference.